Hello, beloved. It's me, Robin Hallett, intuitive healer and light sparkler at robinhallett.com. And this is Tea with Robin. On today's episode, all along, it's always been you. And you gotta be you, doing what you love, honoring time for yourself, making the choices, no regrets. Take care of the weather in your heart. All along, it's always been you. You're the one in charge. You're the one who can make things right. Our inspiration? Let's talk about fun for you. Fun, fun, fun. 3 fun things. And we'll have a letter from a friend wondering, is she any less spiritual because she wants to throw something across the room in a moment of anger? What happens to our spiritual progress when we have fits like that? This is going to be a good one. Come grab a cup of yum yum and meet me here. Well, hello, gorgeous friend. Guess who it is? Me, Robin, checking in with you. Another gorgeous episode of Tea with Robin. This is episode 132. 132. A big hello and how do you do, and sending my love and hugs to you. If you're new here, if this is your first time listening, I wanted to say a special hi. Please say thank you to the friend who brought you here. This is a beautiful space where friends on the spiritual journey, heart-centered friends, we come together and spend some time remembering who we truly are, dealing with the day-to-day, and finding ways to accept ourselves, love ourselves, do the things we love. I hope you enjoy this podcast, and welcome. Thank you for being here. Now, friends, returning, how are you doing? How is the weather in your heart these days? As we continue to make our way in this time, been a lot of news again, more stuff in the world this week especially, second or third week of April here. It's important now more than ever that we tend to the weather in our hearts, that we care about the state of the weather in our hearts, that we pay attention and notice. Oh, I'm stressed, I'm pressed, I'm not so great. I better tend to the weather in my heart. I better help myself out. So we're going to talk about that today, and I hope that's how you've been doing. Over here, I'm doing wonderfully well. I have been loving our conversations the last, 3 weeks. Episode on rest, episode on choosing to have a glad heart, and last week's beautiful episode on slow living. I hope you've been feeling much the same, transforming and transcending in your own way as we travel along together on our journey. I'm doing really great. I've been working a little, playing a little, and creating a little. It occurred to me this week that one of the beautiful things about going through a difficult time with friends on the journey is we can rely on each other, and we can count on each other to show up in ways that feel supportive and nourishing to us. And, when you show up and do the same, you offer the same. So it's been a beautiful realization. And even here at home with my sweet number one husband, remembering that things don't always have to be equal. Like, you're not going to both be earning the same exact amount of money, or doing the same amount of household work, or the same watching the children time. You know what I'm getting at here? But we can fill in and share and help each other and rely on each other. And that's been really good. Sharing, asking for help, and allowing ourselves to be held and received in that way. Like, you don't always have to have your shoulders up around your ear, toting your to-do list, my friend. So Same goes to me. That's how I've been. Just feeling peaceful in my heart, happy, moving through some beautiful days here. Let's cheers. I hope that you brought some yum yum with you. This is my Bublé water. Have you seen the Michael Bublé ads for his bubbly, it's not his, but bubbly water? Yes, they crack me up. I have grapefruit Bublé, and this morning's delicious second cup of coffee here. Cheers to you. That's what I'm going to say today. Cheers to you for showing up, for continuing on, for making choices that nobody but you will know what it really means, but you know, and I know. Like, you chose the hard thing or the right thing, or you could have easily done this other thing, but you chose to do this work, to show up. And, it might sound weird to say I'm proud of you on a radio show, but just for fun, let's think about the person in your life you love the most, or love, who's here or passed on. Proud of you. Cheers. So good. Let's do it again. Very good. Speaking of slurps, have you seen on YouTube the people who eat on camera into the microphone? I never can say the name right. Mukbang? I don't know. Mukbang? I'm not sure. It's a thing. And it can be really engrossing. Like not just Frito chips, but like pizza and lobster. And I am so fascinated that there's like a community of people who love to watch stuff like that and listen to stuff like that. And then there's content creators who like to create stuff like that. It's amazing. This world is a big, beautiful place. And what I want to say is there is room for you in it exactly as you are. Instead of judging the thing you're interested in and fascinated by or curious about, instead of judging that, let yourself explore. I was watching these people the other day, and I thought, it is so cool. It is so cool to watch somebody doing what they're interested in. As far as I'm concerned, if you know what you're really into and you know who you truly are and you love what you love, that is living the good life. So it's really cool to watch people in a field that is so specific, It might seem weird to some of us. It might seem freaky deaky, as my dad used to say. But it's cool. If you ask me, it's really cool. So I wonder those places in you where you feel a little bit shy about the things you love to do, or like I said, you're judgmental about it. It doesn't seem very highbrow or not as important. Yeah, the biggest is that we judge it. We judge what we love. And so we never really let ourselves do these things that are just natural for us. So this all came up because I slurped my coffee. Occasionally I get some email about the sound of slurps. Sometimes people complain. What can I say? The risk of you showing up exactly as you are is some people will not like you exactly as you are. And as a matter of fact, I know this is a very hard point for a lot of people. We just want to be liked. We do. But it really comes from in your life, if you've been shamed or laughed at, or you just let yourself be you and you were turned away or made fun of, you shined your light and people giggled, it creates a wounding. It creates challenges for us, unconscious ones especially. Which is why I want to mention it. I mention all of this because you know what it's like to want to conform to the masses, to have everybody love you, to have everybody be on good terms with you, to have nobody ever get mad at you. And it is a really challenging way to live when you want to be free and you just want to be yourself. you know? Yeah, this is my work right now, is a deep acceptance of who I am, deep acceptance of what I love, and seeing that we've always been this way. This one we sometimes try and hold back or don't express. He or she always been here. They've always been inside of us. And our job is to let ourselves be ourselves. And if you're doing that as a practice in the beginning, in the middle, you're going to have judgment, and you're going to remember times when people didn't respond well or didn't respond at all, or, whatever. You got to be you. You got to be you. You know how I ask you, how's the weather in your heart? And I was saying earlier, we need to learn how to tend to the weather in our hearts. This is how all of this ties together. Most of us have shitty days because we're not honoring the weather in our hearts. We're not listening in our hearts. We're not adjusting and allowing a slower pace or some self-care or some rest. We're worried about someone else, not us. We're worried how it will sound, how it will look if we take some time. People, it's amazing to me, and I'm only laughing because I just saw my own thing. I'm about to tell you this thing. I saw my own thing, and it's just funny sometimes. The lengths we will go to create a perfect storm that will end you up finally getting free, but you blow a lot of things up in your wake while you're learning how to do it. You create a lot of drama for yourself and your family and your friends sometimes, or they embroil you. You have to think about your situation. But the lengths we go to complicate things, like learning how to take care of your needs. Like letting yourself just do what you want to do. What if we didn't have to create such drama to go take a nap, or to ask somebody else to go run an errand for you for a freaking change? It's so new to me to ask Jeff from an empowered place. It's really easy when you have a migraine to ask somebody to run to the store, right? It's really easy when you have a deadline looming from work, or one of the kids has a fever and somebody has to stay home. It's really easy to ask people to help you. Okay, I lied. It's still hard to ask, right? Were you thinking that? It's still hard to ask, but somehow those things can make us feel like we're allowed to ask for help. We're allowed to be supported. When there's drama, I can get help. When there's chaos, I can get help. When there's sickness, I can get help. And you still have a hard time asking for help, don't you? Even then. But to say from an empowered place, listen, I work better when I honor the weather in my heart. And today, the weather in my heart feels like a high pressure system. What can I take off my plate? What is really not a real thing I have to do today? Because do you ever get those? Yes. Did you answer yes? Because this is about honesty here. Yes for me. 2 hands up. Let's take care of ourselves. Let's take care of the weather in our hearts. Back to doing what you love. A lot of times we're sad because we're not experiencing what we would love. Yeah, right? You feel like you're missing out. You feel like you're not caught up in your life. Or you didn't do it right. You have some regrets. You still think about how you wanted to be this thing and it didn't happen. If we don't listen, check for the weather in our hearts. If we don't take that moment at the beginning of the day to check in, or a couple times in the day, check in, the weather can really get worse. A little pressure system can turn into a full-blown storm, and you know that. So when you slow down, when you take the time just to check in, lower your shoulders. Acknowledge what's here. Accommodate that need. Just do it. Don't be one of those memes that's like preachy about everybody else practicing self-care while you are doing nothing at the same time. That's the B side of the Instagram post of the meme about self-care. It's like, just do it for yourself. Let's not just learn about things and talk well about things. Let's actually live what we're teaching. That's such a fundamental thing for me, but you'd be surprised how small the camp really is. So we got to do it for us. We got to keep doing it for us. Listen to the birdies for a while and slow down. And then you just assess. There are no true emergencies that exist in your mind. You know, there may be, like if you think about a real storm, sure. But in your mind, you're in charge. You're in control. And if your mind is conjuring stories and dilemmas and chaos and stress and negating your need to slow down, that's on you too. I mean, it's your mind. You have the ability to stop and slow down, but it takes a lot of courage because you have stories. I have stories, times we tried to handle things that went badly, and it stays, it's not just in your memory, it's in your nervous system. The resistance can really be, in a way, it's in your bones, and you might have every intention in your heart to do something you love. I was going to say go take a walk, but I don't want to talk about things that are like healthy habits. I want to talk about what you love, which might not be take a walk. It might be, paint. Go set up your paints and actually create something for a freaking change. Right? Do you say it that way sometimes? Or me, we're running out of bread. I love this bread I make. But it takes time. It's an investment. And it's also like in a day of a day of offering healing sessions, it would be incredibly challenging to bake bread. But how did I learn that? Oh, because I tried to squeeze it all in between breaks and things. You know what I mean? We try to do things in a way that squeaks it in, but it's terribly chaotic. So when you really spread out and let yourself live your life, it doesn't mean you'll be less effective. It usually means you'll be much more effective. I feel incredibly accomplished and also deeply satisfied because I got a lot of things in this week for me time, fun time. I got a lot of things done in terms of busy work, paperwork, appointments. I had incredible healing sessions this week, and now I'm recording the amazing podcast, garden time, so many things. I installed a floor in my kitchen. I removed a wall a little while back. Only Jeff and I know how little the while back is, so we'll just leave it there. But I finally patched the floor. And it looks gorgeous. I had time to do that. It's just so fun. So heading into the weekend feeling satisfied and easy. But that doesn't mean there weren't challenging points where I had to do this thing. I'm telling you, sit down, check the weather in my heart, accommodate, adjust, allow, ease, ask for help, scratch some things off my list, reschedule things, organize it the way I need it. Set some limits for yourself, You can't always answer. I get a lot of mail and a lot of messages in a day, and I can't always answer in in the same manner in which people write to me. And honestly, I love to respond. That's the thing. Don't think I'm saying it's annoying to respond. The problem is I could talk about healing all day long, and you learn the hard way. You get taken advantage of. You take advantage of yourself. I allowed... Do you know what I'm trying to say? I'm getting all tongue-tied here. You have to set limits because there are things you love even more. And missing out on the fun for you is not okay. And so I think so much about, I talked about this last week, my friends who would say, I don't want to spend my whole day taking care of everybody else. I want to take care of me. And I have had to learn that I can't chat as much as I would love to with people because, well, it reminds me of these clients I used to have. This is going back, but the daughter and mother would come to see me, and the daughter was getting married. And there was this big argument about, what was it? The receiving line. Remember receiving lines? You stand in the reception hall, you and your family, the person's getting married, you're shaking hands with everybody as they arrive, or you're going around from table to table to table saying hello, and there's an expectation that you're going to do that, and it's going to be done, and there's always people who get upset because you didn't do it the right way. Well, can't always do it because I know, the time it takes. So back to this wedding, there was some ungodly number, and I sound very judgy, but it was a big, big number, like above 200 people. Big, big, according to Robin. And the mother was insisting on the formal greeting line for everybody. And so I finally said, let's get out a calculator and shake hands and time it, and you will see the reception won't be long enough to shake everybody's hands. Sometimes you just think, I'm letting myself feel so pressured, and it's just not even possible. There is literally not enough time. Right? Was that a good story or not? Sometimes it's that kind of story that helps me move through, because it's never just a quick handshake. It's difficult sometimes learning how to prioritize your needs, learning how to let things go because you want to stay focused in your flow, isn't it? Just if you agree or you understand, have so much compassion for yourself, but don't let it stop you. Don't stay in a cycle. Don't. I know I talk about email here a lot, but I think because it's been a big challenge for me in terms of my day-to-day life and stuff. And you got to think of your own examples where things suck up time in your day and you feel bad about it, or it's something you love to do, but if you don't watch your time, there won't be any for yourself, your own stuff. And that's what I'm talking about. These are the kinds of things that can lead to sadness and feeling down and sort of like you're not getting enough oxygen in your blood somehow because there's no you time. So, let's be easy, let's be loving, and let's let ourselves do some of the things we want to be doing. And you know how I said a little while ago that we have regrets sometimes about not becoming who we think we were supposed to become? or you hear a good story about someone else's success, and you might feel bad about the choices you made, or you might wish for a deep moment really hard that you could have done what this person did at that age, It's very natural to feel that way. We have to work to not get attached to the thoughts and the upset. So I wanted to, for anyone this really resonates for, one of the beautiful things about letting yourself be you and love what you love, no matter how freaky deaky you think it is, and make space for it in your day, setting those limits I've just been talking about, holding space for yourself. As you practice these things, you realize you get to know yourself in a very deep way. You really know yourself. You're able to make decisions. You're able to make assessments. You get what's going on for you. You have your way. And even if you wobble in that, you can keep reminding yourself, no, this is me, but this is me. This is how I roll. Those of you who really resonate with the regrets and things, looking back or feeling like you're still not where you ought to be, you are still, I have this saying, you are still that astronaut. Some of you may have heard me say this before. Growing up, you wanted to be this thing, or all your life you've been going to this goal. Think about I doubt there are very many of us who don't have this. I have this. You have this. Many of you have this, My friends I talk to have this. You feel like, you were always meant to be an astronaut and you didn't turn out that way, but you have been all along. It's just the way you visualized it looks a bit different, but it's still you, fascinated by the things that fascinate you, that make your heart beat, that make you feel alive. It's still you. So instead of having that, since my life didn't pan out in the direction I thought it would, I make this decision that I'm not something I'm supposed to be. That's all in our minds. But it's gorgeous to realize, all along I'm still me. This week, while I was patching the floor, I was realizing, installing that kitchen floor and patching things and working with my tools, I thought, oh my God. I had out this Dremel toolkit bag that I had from my jewelry making days. Did you know I used to have a jewelry business? Creating Sacred Bling. I still own the domain name. Sacred Bling. And then there was this time where I was making a lot of art in the apron I was wearing while I was fixing the floor. I was making a lot of art and thinking about how can I make products, and that didn't pan out is one way you can say these things. The jewelry business didn't pan out. That's not true, though. The truth is, I loved what I loved while I loved it. And then my heart, like Celine will tell us, my heart will go on. That's just how it goes. It would be the most boring thing in the world to do the exact same thing forever. Even you who eat oatmeal every single day of every single week of every single month, of every single year, you vary it from time to time. But really, you're still you. And when you realize that, I had that big aha moment, which led to a lot of ha-ha moments, because it's kind of cool. Oh, Yeah, I'm still the artist who made the jewelry, who's now baking sourdough bread, growing a garden, loving her husband, loving a slower life, repairing the floor, decorating her home. It's still me. Yeah, I'm still that astronaut, you know? So instead of having regret that we haven't lived up to something, you say all along, I'm still wearing the apron and exploring new things. And I'm happier for it every day. And I really can't say I would feel this way. Oh God, stop rhyming. I can't help it. If I had been like what my mind visualized this thing looking like, I'm me, you're you. So we must value our self-discovery. We must value our time. Value a slower flow in the day because it leads to ahas and ha-has like this. So I hope you love this message today. And I'm already excited about what upwells for you in your life, what you choose to take from this talk today and put into practice or allow to validate something you've always known but maybe haven't really kicked it into gear. Yeah, we ride together, my friend. It's amazing what we can do together. And I always think about where two or more are gathered in my name, there I shall be also. We're never alone. And when we join together, we make courageous choices for sure. Because we know we're not alone. All right, cheers. So inspiration today, I wanted to give you a chance to think about what's fun for you and remind you that we definitely judge our fun things. So I'm really giving you a chance here. Take a breath and slow down. Just let yourself think about 2 or 3 things that are really, really fun for you. And it would be very natural to also feel a sense of loss or upset because you haven't been letting yourself. That's a good indicator it's the right thing. Yeah. So, right, the inspiration today is to play, is to let yourself have some things. It's easier than we know to have fun time every single day. If you know somebody who's a poo-pooer of the fun in every single day, I could hear it in my head already. I can hear some of you. I can hear some of your parents saying it to you. I hear it. You can tell those people in your head. That's for me to know and you to find out. Remember that? That. You need to know for yourself what is going to work. And it's not your problem if other people think what you're doing is wrong. They'll find out on their own how this all works. It's best, for me, it's best to let people come to it in their own time. I'm not interested in going down that path. It's for me to know, and you'll find out or you won't. I don't care. Sorry. Not sorry. Sorry, not sorry. But it's natural if I say, think of 3 things you love to do. Go. 1, 2, 3. You can rewind and keep practicing this with me. My 3 in this moment, because they change, But right now, I love to get in bed with a tray, tea, and some snacks on my tea break. I give myself tea breaks in the day. Instead of sitting in the kitchen on my phone answering email, let's say, and having tea and a snack, helping somebody else with their thing. You moms and dads who have homework you're trying to multitask everything, but make sure you're not losing out on some you time because you're trying to squeeze it all in. You know, the nature of that energy of gotta squeeze it all in, it's amazing how much pressure you can feel. But the pressure is not the most important thing. The release valve is. We are responsible for the world we see, for the things we create in our lives, for the way we see it and the emotions we experience because of the way we are creating it. So if you choose to go into, your fun time feeling pressure-filled and resistant, you're going to create more response to that. So if you want to do this fun, or whatever it is, some of us just want to work smarter, not harder. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted to be more efficient in my day at work so that I could have the maximum work time and the maximum play time and really have big pockets of time, to do both. So we have to, have the courage to make the change, to make the move, to get ourselves free. And so, in the day, I love getting in the bed with some tea and watch a TV show. I love to have time to fix projects around the house, And that's a hard one thing for me because I did really judge myself for that. I felt like I should be working more. I should take more sessions in a week, try to take more sessions in a week instead of fixing things around the house. But quickly, when you're working on these things, like allowing yourself to pay attention to the weather in your heart and investigate what's going on for you, you realize this is contributing massive value if I would allow myself to do some things I'm actually feeling called and enjoy doing. And, it would tick a lot of boxes, as we say. So, what are some fun things you like to do? Things that feel good. There are things we fix, there are things we create, there are things we do, there are shows we watch. None of it is as good as when we let ourselves do it freely, without commentary, without judgment, without worry. Anybody got the hang up about, a spiritual person doesn't do things like this? I hear that story in so many ways in my day. Days. A lot of us struggle with that, whatever it is, Just let yourself be who you are. That's your biggest work. We're all going to find out one day that it didn't matter. Our worry about looking a certain way or being a certain thing or having a certain title, we're going to find out. I would rather live that way now and enjoy my time. So 3 fun things, please. That's my inspiration to you today. Know what they are and work some of them in and see, be a little scientist and observe an anthropologist, let's say. A zoologist, let's say. Let's study your little animal self and notice what you love and notice how the vibes affect you in such a positive way. Okay? What do you say? Hey. Cheers. Well, friends, this is the part of the show where I love to ask you to support the podcast. There are a number of ways you can do this. First is to share a message on social media. If you're on social media, give the podcast a shout out. Post copy and paste a link to wherever you like to listen and share a little blurb, a love blurb about the show. You can leave a review, pretty easy to do from anywhere you listen. And I always welcome a donation, Venmo, PayPal. It's kind of funny. I don't know why. I just thought about, we used to say Winston, our wonder dog, would work for bacon. Well, you can buy me a bottle of wine. No bacon, thank you. But if you want to support me that way, just to say thank you or share some joy together, I appreciate it in all the ways you do. And most importantly, take this light into your heart and let it upwell in your life. Put this stuff into practice and let your life become what you feel so good living in. And then you go on to share with your friends, and they go on and share with their friends, and they go on and share with their friends. That's amazing. Thank you for that so much. I'm topping off my teacup. Why don't we read a beautiful letter for today? And friends, I know I say it a lot, but I welcome you to send a letter. If I can offer some support, if I can offer some healing, if you'd like to share an experience that you've had working with some of the healing we do here, write to me, hello@robinhallett.com, or you can message me on the social medias thingamabobas. Just kidding. Direct message me on Instagram or Facebook. All right, so this goes out to my friend Georgie. I crack myself up sometimes. This goes out to my friend Georgie, who wrote, and I'm sure we can all relate to this. Hi, Robin. I'm feeling like I'm in need of a little pep talk. You know how we work on our spiritual selves, and I love doing that. But then I get into situations, especially with my family, especially now, where I lose all of what I thought I had gained. I lose all of what I thought I gained. Can you offer a pep talk, some kind of a reminder, how to keep it straight in those moments when I want to throw something across the room at my sister, for example? I worry so much that it means I'm going backwards on my journey. Thanks so much for all you do. I love this podcast so much. Thanks, Georgie. I'm so glad you love this podcast so much, and I'm thrilled that you would ask a question like that, because it's one of those secret awarenesses that a lot of us have. Did we erase part of our journey? Did we go backwards? Did we lose all of our progress? You know, that's one thing I can hear again and again from clients, friends on the journey, who are like, I feel like I'm going backwards. I feel like I'm losing progress. I feel like I'm not getting anywhere. So, yeah, here comes your pep talk for all of us here. This is not just for Georgie. What's coming to me now is the intuitive hit on this letter for all of us here in the posse. So may it serve you where you need it most. The thing is, you're always infinite and timeless. You're always a spark of the divine. It never goes anywhere, even if you throw a plate across the room at your sister, or you scream something, or you lose your patience and say the thing you keep saying you're never going to say again. You yell at your kid, whatever happens. I hear so many good stories, and good stories because it's like this, where you think all is lost because you threw a plate, or you wanted to throw a plate, or you swore at somebody, or you lost your patience, you had a tantrum, whatever, or you were very bitchy or gossipy or mean. or pushy or judgy, or you gave advice when for 100 times the person has asked you to be quiet. Stop trying to fix them. All these things that happen. The thing is, you are still a spark of the divine, no matter what. And that's the truth we have to practice remembering. We have to practice remembering it, that all is not lost because we did this thing or we did this other thing or we indulged this habit or whatever. All is not lost. And even if you can remember that for a fraction of a minute every day, I promise you will make progress. So, the mistake we make is thinking we're a finished product. You go around, and in my 30s, I was very cocky like this. I'm 52 now. I'm finally getting it. I hope everybody is faster than me. I hope it doesn't take 20 years. But, if it does, okay. We're not a finished product. We're not all perfect and tidy. There are going to be parts that eke out, that squeak out. Am I talking about farting? Spiritual farting. You're not some finished product that needs just a little tweaking occasionally to stay a finished product. Your spirit in a body and the greater consciousness that you are came here to be in this body, to have experiences, to learn and awaken, to experience life as you in this body. And, we often need help remembering the spirit part and then allowing it to influence the human part. So I think it's beautiful that there's a part of you who knows you get triggered by stuff, you fall into the pit sort of with your sister. You fall into the pit and then you want to throw a plate at her or whatever happens. I think it's a beautiful awareness, and we can choose to be ashamed or embarrassed or tell the story that we lost all our progress. Or we can choose to say, wow, cool, I'm catching it. I'm catching on sooner. That is the process of awakening. I personally would rather be somebody with a temper who is awake to the temper and can work with it than somebody who cannot tolerate the temper and always needs it to be a certain way. Because in my experience, actually, one feels really balanced and harmonious, and it's the one that can handle the anger, that can fold all of the experience in, have it all of it, because that's life. And actually, the spirit of us has no judgment about these things that we have all these judgments about, that we have these expectations, that spiritual looks a certain way. You can kind of sketch the type. So our job is to accept who we are and to remember love is where we came from. And love is who we are, even if we're throwing plates or swearing or doing, smoking or drinking or eating Twinkies or all the stuff that, I don't know what else is on the list, all the stuff that gets in the way. And can we have patience for the part of us that has a harder time remembering we're connected to God or the flow of abundance when the shit is hitting the fan? Or when we're having a conflict? Or somebody judges us, or somebody says no to us, or the bank account is empty and we're scared. Can we just forgive ourselves for being so hard on ourselves in those moments. And remember, this is a practice. I think there's always the opportunity. Practice is always an opportunity to remember you are spirit in a body, you are infinite and timeless, you are a spark of the divine, and the part of you who is that has no posturing. It just is. That part of you is not the one that wears the yoga outfit and does the mudras with your fingers and chants Om. That's not your spiritual self. Your spiritual self just is. So there's no trying to be anything. You just are. And like I say, if we can just practice remembering this truth, that's what enlightenment is to me, remembering who we truly are. That's what enlightenment is. It's a process. So, like I said, even if we can do it for a minute, once in a while, more light gets into that knotted up place, which is kind of confused and spinning. So, that's the miracle. Choosing to remember that, choosing to be easy on ourselves, choosing to practice, and, the beautiful thing about practicing on our journey, about studying and learning and reading books and meditating and yoga and all the things we do spiritual in nature, studying the Course in Miracles, reading the Tao, these daily meditations. I love the book Jesus is Calling. I usually read that too. We remember in the good times so we can practice in the tough times. You can quote me on that. We have to practice in the tough times. There will be tough times. So be easy with it. Love yourself. It's cool. You're cool. You're doing neat things. Be proud of that. You're awake. And sometimes you want to throw a plate at somebody. I kind of like that about you, actually. Learning to tolerate ourselves is a good practice. So I hope something in there felt helpful to you and to all of us here. It helps me to remember as well. We don't have to be perfect because we already are. We don't have to be forgiven because we already are. Like there was nothing to even be worried about. We're just good. We're all right. Yes. So cheers to that. Well, friends, that wraps another stellar episode of the Tea with Robin podcast, 132 in the can. Do you agree? If you do, I really hope, if it feels right, you do something to support this love getting out there further. I'm always so appreciative of shares, comments, and likes. If you're ever on social media, even if you make the extra effort to log in just to look it up and say something, it helps. Helps the love get out there. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, it's Friday night as I wrap this, and Jeff and I, number one and I made a lovely pizza dough. We're going to make some pizzas and have martini night and listen to music, and there's probably some smooching involved. I'm hoping. And it's a lovely feeling sailing into the weekend. I hope wherever you are, whenever you're listening to this, the weather in your heart is a little more because we were together today. And thank you so much for being here. This has been me, Robin. Love is who we are. rain or shine, hail it. And I will see you next time or in a few minutes. Bye-bye. Life is very short, let's make the very most of it. You are a precious gem and I love you. Do 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 do. We are here to shine and shine bright. You are a gem and I love you. Do 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 do. Life is precious and you are a spark of the divine. So shine like you know it, rock it like you mean it, 'cause you really, really mean it, and mean it, and mean it, and mean it, and mean it. Don't let crispy people tell you that you aren't sparkly, 'cause you are, 'cause you are, 'cause you are. Thank you. I like that. I love it, honey. Thank you. Give me a kiss.